Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this little sort of impromptu live stream. Just wanted to get caught up on all of the happenings going on in the wonderful world of genealogy and family history. I'm Amy Johnson Crow, and thank you so much for joining me. Whether you're watching this live or watching the replay, I really do appreciate you spending some time with me. And like I said, tonight, we're going to go over some of the new things that are going on in genealogy, some events that are upcoming, some record releases that just happened, and some fun little things with DNA. So I want to go over those first, and then hopefully we'll have time for some questions and answers, and we'll kind of take it from there. See people who are watching from all over, have people from Florida and Massachusetts, some people who are just up the road from me in Ohio. We've got Utah, Tennessee, all over the place. Well, wherever you are, thank you for watching. So let's go ahead and get started because we do have quite a few updates that are going on in genealogy. And the first, see if I can get my tech working here. This is always fun. RootsTech 2023. Yeah, it's getting to be that time again, and RootsTech is going to be going on again next year, March 2nd through 4th. And RootsTech 2023 is going back to being a hybrid event, meaning they are going to have both in-person sessions and an in-person expo hall in Salt Lake City at the Salt Palace where it has been before, but they're also going to have many, many, many dozens, probably hundreds of sessions that are going to be offered virtually that you can watch from anywhere. You know, if you can get online, you can watch. You can go ahead and get registered now. The registration website is open at rootstech.org. Again, the dates for that are March 2nd through 4th. Now, if you're going to just be attending the virtual sessions are going to be free like they've been in the past. If you are going to be going out to Salt Lake City, Utah in March to watch the in-person events, there is a cost for that. I believe it's $98 for the 3 days, which, you know, $98 for a 3-day event, that's pretty good. So I know that they're going to have some fabulous keynoters, again, like they always do. RootsTech always does such a great job with having some very interesting keynote presentations, and just the different things that they've been doing. RootsTech really is my favorite genealogy event, and it's going to be interesting to see how it all comes together in March, going back to having both in-person as well as the virtual event that we've been enjoying for the last couple of years. So definitely keep an eye out on that. And if you know you're going to be watching at least the virtual, go ahead and get registered. Again, you can take care of that, whether you're registering to just watch online so you can make your playlists and all that fun stuff, or if you're registering to actually go out to the event in Salt Lake, you can do that at rootstech.org. That website is live. See, the Simple Living Genealogist says, I really hope to attend in person this year. Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of people saying, you know, it's going to be good to get back to having an in-person event. So definitely looking forward to that. All right. So let's take a look at what we have next. Speaking of events, RootsTech, hey, it's a big deal, but it's not the only event that's coming up. There's another event that is brand new, and it's being sponsored by a website that kind of flies under the radar, but truly is one of my favorite places to explore genealogy and to really get in and share genealogy, and that is WikiTree. Now, WikiTree is a website. It's a collaborative family tree. It's a little different than some of the other collaborative family trees. WikiTree really, really, really emphasizes sources. And they have a lot of different teams and different projects that work on different aspects of research. One of my, I don't want to, one of my, okay, I'll go ahead and say it. One of my passion projects that I've been working on for many, many years has been researching veterans of the US colored troops from the Civil War. I started working on a group of them actually when I was in college at Ohio State. And WikiTree is a really great venue to be able to share that sort of information. So since I've been doing a lot of research with that, I've been volunteering with what they call the US Black Heritage Project. But all that aside, just talking about the event that WikiTree is going to be having. It's a 2-day event on November 4th and 5th. Now, on the 4th, they're calling it the WikiTree Symposium, and it's going to be a lot of genealogy topics. So I'm actually going to be presenting early in the morning on November 4th, talking about the Wander method for genealogy research. I know that Thomas McKenty is going to be presenting, Peggy Lauritsen is presenting, I believe that Maureen Taylor is presenting. Got a lot of really, really good topics going on November 4th. On November 5th, there's also going to be some genealogy topics, but it's also going to be talking a lot about how to really use WikiTree and some of the fabulous projects that are going on over on WikiTree. So that's going to be a little bit more of the emphasis on Saturday, November 5th, although there are going to be some general genealogy topics as well. I'm going to be on a panel discussion that morning talking about the future of genealogy. You know, what is genealogy going to look like in a few years? How is it now different from when it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago? And how might it look 5, 10, 20 years from now? So really going to be talking about that early in the morning on November 5th. Now, I'm going to hopefully, if the technology is willing, you know, that's always a thing. I love technology when it works. Hopefully, I can post this in the comments. Hopefully that worked. I just dropped the link in the comments so you can go over and register for WikiTree Day either on the 4th or the 5th of November. And by the way, if I didn't mention it before, it's a free event, totally free, totally online. So yeah, definitely check that out. And also on that link that I just shared with you is the full schedule for both days. So check that out over at wikitree.com. Okay. What we have next, moving away from the wonderful world of events, let's talk about DNA. Ancestry DNA, they've done it again. So back in early mid-August, they launched something in Ancestry DNA that they call Side View. And basically, when it started back in August, it was a way to take your ethnicity estimate and split it into parent 1 and parent 2. So which side did you get which part of your ethnicity? For my the way that mine looked, they were virtually identical. So, you know, that wasn't any great surprise to me. Um, so that was kind of fun, kind of interesting. Well, here in the last couple of weeks, they have enhanced that side view. And now, instead of just having your ethnicity split into parent 1 and parent 2, now you can actually see which side your matches are on. And I'm going to zoom this in a little bit so you can see a little bit better. So not everybody has this yet. They are rolling it out over the next several weeks. So if you don't have it yet, don't panic. They're still rolling this out. But when you go into your Ancestry DNA matches, they will be split between parent one and parent two. Now, if you scroll down the page a little bit, there probably is a section of unassigned matches. Some of those are people who tested after they did the most recent update, so they haven't quite figured out where they go yet, but they should be picked up then the next time that Ancestry redoes this update. And sometimes you will have people who will match on both sides. You will see that as well. And sometimes they just can't tell. Now, for my side view, looking at parent one and parent two, I had already put a lot of my matches, my close matches, into different groups, into different surname groups. So I could see, okay, these are the matches on my paternal grandfather, and these are the people that are matching on my maternal grandmother. And looking at the side view, how it split these matches into parent one and parent two, I tell you, it really worked for me. Now, a few caveats. If you have any endogamy in your DNA, if you come from a population that you could be matching somebody on any number of different lines, side view really isn't going to work because there are so many different ways that you and that match can match. It's really hard to assign, well, this is on your mother's side, this is on your father's side. So it's like, I don't know. So they kind of they don't quite know what to do with that, which makes sense. So um, there are some limitations to it. But that I will say that one of the kits, one of the Ancestry DNA kits that I manage is for a woman who is adopted. And I've already identified her biological mother. I've done that several months ago. But being able to go into her kit and it clearly shows, okay, these matches are parent one, these matches are parent two. And again, I went into those matches, and the ones that I had already flagged, yeah, they were actually assigned correctly. And it's going to be such a help for me as I'm looking through some of those matches that I hadn't yet put in a group, like, oh, okay, these are with parent one, who I happen to know is the biological mother's tree. It's like, okay, I can kind of put that match aside for now, and now I can concentrate on those matches that are on parent two. One thing to keep in mind when you are looking at Ancestry DNA and it's split between parent one and parent two, it's and you're looking at your kit, parent one, parent two, and I'm looking at my kit, parent one, parent two, they aren't always assigned the same way. So my parent one is my father, parent two is my mom. That isn't true with everybody. So you actually, once you figure out who is who in your side view, you actually can go and rename that that profile. So it doesn't always say parent one, parent two. You can say mom's side or dad's side. Just make it a little bit easier to read. So yeah. So that is the new Ancestry DNA matches. Um, One thing I also wanted to mention, hang on one second, see if I can bring it up here. Ancestry not only has the side view, they've also updated the ethnicity estimates. They've added some new genetic communities. They've also added some new regions. So one thing to keep in mind with the ethnicity estimates, your DNA doesn't change, but how we understand it does. What I mean by that is, as Ancestry or MyHeritage or whoever, as they are working more with DNA and are better able to understand what all it's telling us, it can better refine all of these different estimates that we're getting. So with Ancestry, one thing that they do is they have what they call reference panels, where they have identified people whose genealogy takes them in a specific area for many, 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 many generations. The paper trail is clear. This person has been, and their ancestors have been in this location for, a really, really long time. As they are better able to refine the reference panels and better able to refine what they're understanding with the DNA, that's when we get these changes to the ethnicity estimate. The thing to remember with ethnicity estimates, it still is that. It's an estimate. I know some people get really hung up on, well, my ancestors were from Italy and it's showing that I'm all this German. Well, what they might not be realizing is that their ancestors were from way northern Italy, which is, close to Switzerland, close to Germany. And, our DNA does not neatly stop at a border. And those boundaries, those borders that we have now, for one thing, they haven't always been right there. But we have to think about, okay, as these countries are getting close to each other, there is going to be overlap. Okay. So just because it says, oh, you have all of this German/Swiss, but oh, my people are all Italian. Well, are they from northern Italy and it's kind of close to that area where you're going to have different communities uh, with different estimates that way. So don't get terribly hung up on the ethnicity estimate. One other thing, though, that you do want to take a look at is not just the ethnicity estimate, but also looking at what Ancestry calls the communities. Those are going to be much closer in terms of generations. So that ethnicity estimate could be going, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, thousands of years back. Your genetic communities are much more recent. And sometimes when you're trying to figure out how a match does or doesn't match you, how exactly are you, connected to that person through your DNA? Instead of focusing so much on the ethnicity estimate, take a look to see what genetic communities you might have in common. Do you have the Appalachian settlers? Do you have, there's one, I forget what the one in the Midwest that I have like tons of people in. Take a look at those communities because those are going to be the more recent connections. So that's just a little heads up if you're working with your Ancestry DNA. All right, so we did have that. Also want to take a look at one more. Oops, let me get rid of this. There we go. Because we do have one more little update here, and that is over on FamilySearch. Of course, FamilySearch, they are always updating so many collections, but here just in the last couple of weeks, they have had some huge updates to the Catholic Church record collection that they have out of Mexico. They've added a ton more church records from Poland, an area of France. I'm not going to try to pronounce it because I took 3 years of Spanish. I didn't take any French, so I know I'm going to mispronounce it. So this area in France with parish and civil registrations and also some church and metrical books out of Ukraine. I know FamilySearch has been working really, really hard trying to get as much as possible digitized and filmed out of Ukraine because obviously with the current situation there. So these are not the only updates that FamilySearch has had recently, but these are the largest. I believe that the Mexico Catholic Church Records collection they added another, I think, 4.2 million images. It's a lot. They really did add a lot there. One thing also that I'm going to try to show you, hopefully this will work. Again, working on technology here. All right, because I wanted to show you over on FamilySearch. Hey, we've got all these great new collections or updated collections. That's really wonderful. But how do you get into a specific collection? And how do you know what Ancestry, or I'm sorry, what FamilySearch even has for a specific location? Now, what I'm going to show you isn't everything that Ancestry has for a specific location, but it can show you some of the main part of the digitized and or indexed collections that they have. So this is one way that you can do it, and it's really where I start when I'm trying to see what FamilySearch might have. If you go to familysearch.org and get logged in, and let me turn off my logo so you can see that. All right. So when you go to familysearch.org and you get logged in, if you haven't already created a free account on FamilySearch, go ahead and do that because you get so many more features when you do. But what you want to do is up here, and hopefully it will let me do this. Up here on the top, click on Search, and then click on Records. Now, you've probably been to this page before, the main FamilySearch search page, and our first thought is to, hey, let's go ahead and just start putting names in. Let's hold off on that. Let's just wait just a minute instead of plugging in some names. Let's scroll down a little bit. And let's go down here to this section where it says find a collection. All right. Now you can start to type in a collection title here, or if you're trying to just see what might exist, one thing you can do instead is to click this Browse All Collections. Technically, it isn't everything that FamilySearch, but it's a really good start. So go ahead, you can click on Browse All Collections. Come on, FamilySearch, you can do it. There we go. All right. And then up here at the top of the page where it says Collection Title, the way that FamilySearch names their collections is if it's a collection that is specific to a location, and most of them are, they include that location as part of the title of the collection, which makes it really handy when we're trying to find what FamilySearch might have. So let's say that we are interested in what do they have for Ukraine. Up here on this top where it says collection title, I can just type in Ukraine. I don't even have to hit enter or anything. It will just automatically give me the collections that they have with the word Ukraine in the title. Okay. And then the little camera icon over here shows that we have images. But if you want to go into a specific collection, let's say you want to go into this collection of church books, you can just click on the title, and now you can search just in that one collection. Makes it so handy to go in. You can really focus your research instead of searching across all of FamilySearch. Well, I know that my ancestors were in this area of Ukraine, so this is really what I want to focus on. So being able to get into specific collections can really help you focus your research. And again, how I got to here was clicking on search, and I clicked on records. But instead of typing in a name like we usually do, scroll down a little bit and click Browse All Collections. Now, if you're interested in um, someplace outside the United States, putting in that country name like I did with Ukraine, that works really well. If you're searching within the United States, maybe you want to enter the name of a state. So I do a lot of research in Ohio. So I can just type in Ohio and it will give me all of the collections that they have. I can see they have 56 collections that have the word Ohio in the title. And then when I find one that I'm interested in, again, I can just click on it and go right to that specific collection. It's also very handy to do this when you're just wanting to look in one specific US Census. Like earlier today, I was really wanting to try to find somebody specifically in the 1900 census. So I could just type in 1900 census. I don't even have to finish typing the word census. And I can see there it popped up, United States Census 1900. And when I click on that, now I'm searching just in the 1900 census. It really is a great way to focus the research. Very, very handy. All right. So we have RootsTech coming up. We have WikiTree Day coming up. We have Ancestry DNA updates. We have a ton more church records available on FamilySearch. Little way to go in and see how you can find out what FamilySearch has for a specific location, as well as how to get into a specific collection to search just that. So I'm going to take a look at the comments and see what we have. Talking about WikiTree Day coming up November 4th and 5th. Karen says, yes, I struggle with how to use WikiTree. Glad they are teaching. Yeah, there is so much you can do with WikiTree. I'm just so impressed with the group over there. I was fortunate enough that last year they were doing this program where I think it was twice a month. They would research the family tree of different genealogists. And I was chosen to be one of them. And they found just so much information. It was really great. And just the teams that they've put together, the different projects that they have. Um, I think once you get into WikiTree, it's pretty easy to kind of just go down that rabbit hole. It's really, really really, really interesting. Lori says, talking about Ancestry DNA, she says, after I spent weeks adding people to mom and dad, now they say parent one and parent two. Oddly, parent two is my dad's side. Yeah, and on Ancestry DNA, parent one, parent two is not the same for everyone. My parent one is my dad. How they assigned it, I don't know if there's any rhyme or reason or if it was just random. I don't know. I don't know. Um, yeah, and Tommy says, I just discovered my access to it yesterday. Yeah, if you don't yet have in Ancestry DNA the side view where it's splitting apart your matches, not just the ethnicity, take a look at that. They are still rolling it out. So I saw a couple of my Facebook friends who are over in Europe. Neither one of them had it yet. So I don't know about the coverage yet within the United States, but it is still rolling out. Yeah. Yeah. Suzanne says, hey, I have new DNA matches. Awesome. Yeah, and Simple Living Genealogist says, I always love reviewing the DNA updates. I can see how much more accurate it is to connecting me to various locations. Yeah, I mean, for as much as we are sometimes frustrated with Ancestry DNA, um, it is fascinating to see just how far we've come in just the last, couple of years of what they've been able to do in terms of going from very, very general ethnicity estimates to getting more specific. And then what I really, really like are those genetic communities, which are putting people in more recent generations together in a location. And what's really cool, Blaine Buttinger pointed this out to me a while back when I interviewed him when the genetic communities first came out. And that is, as he said, sometimes we're not exactly sure how the lines connect. In other words, we might in our tree, in our research, we might say, well, I think it's I think that Robert is the father, but maybe it's actually William who's the father. We might have the individual wrong, but what we usually have right is the location. And so being able to look at those more recent generations, those more recent DNA communities, that I think that that's a really sort of underutilized way of looking at our matches. Yeah. Let's see here. Um, see if we have any other questions. Oh, and Dita, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, says, looking forward to seeing your presentation on October 21st on Texas GNT. Yeah, I'm doing a presentation for the Texas, for the Genealogy Network of Texas. They're putting together this 1 day event with libraries all across Texas. There are, I forget how many of us are, it's all virtual. So if you are in Texas, check with your local library and see if they are a part of it. I know some of them are having sort of watch parties, and then some of them are doing it where you can just register and watch the video on your own. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. Judy says, how far down that census can you narrow it? In other words, can you get to a city? Judy, I'm going to presume that you're talking about when I was looking for specific collections. Just looking at the specific collections, you're kind of limited by the collection title, which would be for the census that I was showing was the United States 1900 census. So it will get you into that collection. Now, when you do a search, you can certainly narrow it down by state and by county. Um, so once you get into searching that collection, you can be more specific. But to find the collection itself, you're going to want to think, what is this collection I'm looking for? The 1880 census. Am I looking for Confederate pension records? What collection am I looking for? And then when you get into that collection, you can be much more specific about the records that you're trying to find. Um, let's see. Um, Mona says, I have grandparents who were first cousins to each other. I wonder how this affects my percentages. Yeah, it's going to, especially with your matches with other people, because you're going to have more of a particular side's DNA than would typically be expected, if that makes sense, because you're kind of doubling up there. So it is going to change that a little bit for you, and that's something to definitely keep in mind when you're looking at how much DNA you share with someone. Kind of keep that in mind that since you do have these grandparents who were first cousins, you're going to have more DNA than expected. So that might throw off exactly what they're predicting your relationship to be with your matches. Oh, right. Well, I think that took care of the questions that I saw coming in. Hey, if you enjoyed this, if you got any value out of this, please go ahead and hit that like button. If you're watching this on Facebook, if you want to go ahead also and like the page, if you're watching this on YouTube, I sure would appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. So, hey, you can get notified when I post new videos or do additional live streams. Let me know if this is something that you like. If you like the genealogy news updates, I'll see about making this a regular feature here on YouTube and on Facebook. Um, if you have any other questions, or if you're watching this on the replay, please feel free to leave your questions and comments down in the comments. I will be taking a look at those and trying to answer as many as possible. So, with that, I think we will go ahead and wrap this up. Um, yeah, and I will also add in the description. I know I had it in the comments, but I will also add in the description the link to register for RootsTech, which that's pretty easy, rootstech.org, and also the link to register for the WikiTree Day, which is November 4th and 5th. I will add that later down into the description so you can find that as well. So with that, everyone, thank you so much for joining me and getting up to date on everything that's happening in genealogy. I'm Amy Johnson Crow. Stay safe, stay healthy, and go make some great discoveries in your family tree. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.